This is a Fatal 4 podcast.
Oh, he went for the super kick, but he couldn't do it, David. Skull-crushing finale into the ladder. Wow.
Yeah, and I don't think he got all of it.
Welcome to Didn't Get All of It. I am Paul Griffin, and this week on the pod, The Hurt is out of business as WWE parts ways with some talent, while also possibly investing in some Motor City weaponry. Plus, Bryan Danielson's contract is up. What does that mean? We're also talking about AEW's latest championship, Blood and Guts, and CM Punk is cleared. So we'll get into all of that and the other important stuff from this week in wrestling. But first, joining me is the rest of the Fatal Four, including Noah.
Hi, how's it going? I got some chocolate-covered pumpkin seeds over here. They're easy on my tummy, but also very tasty.
Well, this is a wrestling podcast. We don't talk about your snacks every week.
Well.
That would be stupid.
Yeah.
Also joining us is Cody.
I don't have any snacks. I just
Good.
am one.
And speaking of being snacks, B-Rob also here.
Damn it. I thought you were going to say that I'm also chocolate covered.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
It's a shame this is taped. Otherwise, we could have redone it.
Yeah,
Well,
but we're here.
folks, the gang is all here. We have a lot of wrestling to talk about. And unfortunately, not a lot of time because all of us have movie tickets. So let's just jump right into it. But real quick before we do, make sure you subscribe to Didn't Get All of It wherever you get your podcasts. If you don't, that sucks, and you should, because you know where to find us. And we're here every Friday, and we can be in your podcast app every Friday if you just hit that subscribe button.
If you just believe.
Yeah, believe in us. Also, check out fatal4pod.com to find all of our links to our socials and the Patreon, patreon.com/fatal4pod. There might be something bonus coming your way this week if you're a patron. Patron. Let's kick it off. Cody, what's to say here about the Hurt business?
Fire sale going out of business. All sales are final because Bobby Lashley's contract is set to expire, and reports say that he has been removed from the internal WWE roster. And according to PW Insider, neither Bobby Lashley nor MVP have been released, but they are expected to depart once their contracts expire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of I guess there's some like internet confirmation of this. When the news broke, I guess MVP did his thing where he did the salute emoji saying that he might be out of here. Just little small shit like that, but there's nothing like for sure.
Yeah, is this like the Natalia thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, except that she came back.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The very
She
next
never
day.
left.
Well, no, but I'd rather she didn't come back. She re-signed. I don't
Right.
think these guys are re-signing.
Yeah.
There was also a lot of wrestlers tweeting out kind of like Bobby Lashley appreciation posts.
Yeah, and then the
This news
internet
came
got
out.
then the internet got the stupid idea of like, oh, they can do the Hurt business somewhere else. I'm like, nah, let's not do that.
Yeah, I'd prefer that they don't do that.
I mean, I don't know. I don't mind the idea. I was definitely curious to hear your thoughts, B-Rob, because I know MVP is like one of your favorites of all time,
Mm-hmm.
but he's also kind of
Long in the tooth.
and you hate old people. So curious what you
Yeah.
think about this.
I mean, I've enjoyed everything that he's done since they brought him back in post the Royal Rumble and whatnot. But it's just he hadn't been doing anything really inoffensive. I mean, it was been more of a managerial role, and I don't have a problem with that. I would like to see him mentor more talent elsewhere if they can pick him up. You know, I wouldn't have a problem with that. So, I mean, what I would really want, and you can get a little more insight with this if you tune into Didn't Get All of It, Japan. I wouldn't mind MVP doing something with New Japan to some extent or whatever. Maybe come back, do commentary for one of the G1 tournaments in the future, or just some commentary stuff, period. Because that would be cool. I think that would suit his forte. He was the first IWGP Intercontinental Champion. So, I mean, he has some ties there and whatnot. So it would be cool to see something like that.
I think the Hurt Business was incredibly underutilized.
They were the bloodline before the bloodline.
Couple of years. So I didn't watch wrestling too much during the pandemic because no crowds for wrestling is the dumbest thing ever. But from what little of the product I did watch during that time, the Hurt Business was like carrying the business.
Yes.
Yes.
It was one of the best parts for sure.
Definitely one of the best acts going during the pandemic era of wrestling. And they never really capitalized on it once crowds came back because they were over. I mean, even as recently as this past year, Bobby Lashley was extremely over. They were trying to create this real group with him and the Street Profits, and it wasn't working because people were chanting Bobby, Bobby.
I think something that really tanked that though was that like by the time the Thunderdome era was over, people were sick and tired of Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre because that was all the main event scene was for like a year and a half. And I think Bobby recovered from it really well. I think it took Drew way longer actually to recover from that.
See, I think it's the opposite because Drew ended up doing that losing streak and failing and turning where Bobby Lashley did nothing. And I think also being stuck on the program where Roman was happening, there's a certain ceiling you can only do, and they weren't going to do Bobby versus Roman.
Right.
I think they did at one point, but
it was like way early.
Not at this stage. Like the plans were already in place. So like putting him with the Street Profits was a dumb move altogether. Like at one point they were talking about splitting the Street Profits up and making Montez like a big star, and then that was squashed. I don't know. I feel like Bobby's an interesting act in that he's definitely been underutilized, but I also don't know what you do with him.
Well, I mean, hear me out. You give him a hockey mask, give him a bloody machete. What? You call him Robert Slashley.
Yeah, you could do that.
No. All right, folks. I think I've had enough here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put my headset down. You guys have a good night.
So I assume they're out.
Japan or wherever he goes, not enough spooky guys.
Yeah. I assume they both find their way into an all elite situation.
Yeah.
What does this
funny
mean
how Cody Internet dropped just now?
What does this mean for Omos?
What does this mean for Omos?
Who is
Every
that?
once in a while they show him walking backstage with MVP, and then they just never show him again. Like he just appears and goes away for months.
He's like opposite Joe Hendry. If you say his name and he disappears.
Good. I assume that he is also a goner once this is all said and done.
When's the last? Was he in the Royal Rumble? Was that the last time we saw Omos?
Probably.
Sounds right. How's anyone going to eliminate him?
You got to gang up on him.
Yeah, let me tell
It's
you.
the only way.
Get
Gangnam
guys,
style.
at least 5 guys.
He lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, that happened. Okay. I completely forgot about it.
It was the same Mania that Cena lost to Austin Theory, but I was trying to remember if it was a double mistake or if Brock won. And could you imagine if that went the other way? How stupid.
God, that was 39, right? That was recent, man.
Yeah, it was like yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
hopefully good things turn about for them, but
I'm sure they'll end up fine wherever they go. They'll probably end up back here someday.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. Everyone always does. Speaking of people leaving, no more Tamina. Nobody
Who's
Mina
meaner than her?
Nobody, and nobody's more unemployed than her. Fightful reports that Tamina isn't expected to be used on TV, and she's expected to be out as well. I'm gonna say something here. I think Tamina is the worst wrestler in the history of professional wrestling.
Nah, I wouldn't say all that.
I
think she got to that point though, but not of all time.
When you consider like amount of time in the business and like the amount of or lack thereof improvement over that amount of time, there's nobody worse. She's been in this company for, I think, let me check, 45 years, and she has had a total of 0 good matches.
Remember that weird time she got a push? Like, for some reason, a crowd got really sympathetic for her, so they put her in a WrestleMania tag with Natalya, and they won the titles.
They didn't win the titles, did they?
They won the tag titles. It was really weird. All of it was very weird and seemed fake.
That lasted for a while too, didn't it?
I mean, I know the whole thing is fake, but this one seemed like manufactured. Yeah, Tamina is an interesting case of how does this person still have a job considering the amount of people they do go through. It's my understanding that she was very well liked backstage, though I assume most people are in this company.
Seems like a nice lady.
Also, if you want to go with conspiracy theorists, she might be well insulated, seeing that her father and the other guy that we shall not name, murder covering and things like that.
Yeah,
and
the Snuka stuff is interesting, but she's also got The Rock on her side.
It's The Rock.
I don't know. I good for her for getting that bag for so long.
Can't be mad at that.
That's one way to do it. I don't see a spot, like we just talked about Lashley and MVP and Tamina, and I just don't know where you fit them in on the show. Like, they have a ton of new women that they can't even get on TV. Like, let's not forget that they called up a business lady from NXT.
Where
she's had like one match.
Where has she been? She hasn't been on TV in like weeks. Has she?
No. They're barely using Davenport on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like, they have all these people they can't even book that they called up. Like, there's no spot for Tamina segments. And you stuck MVP with Omos, which was a huge mistake anyway. And instead of undoing that and putting him with Lashley, like, even then, where does Lashley fit in? Is he Cody Rhodes' friend? Which means he just gets beat up by the bloodline? Like, what does that do?
I think he could have been Cody Rhodes' enemy. That could have been
a good feud. That probably would have been good. I think this is a good thing for everybody, because it gives them the opportunity to do something else if they're into doing stuff. And if they're not into doing stuff, they can all retire happily, I'm sure.
If Tony Khan signs Tamina, I'm never watching AEW again. Like, all respect out the window.
What does she do? I don't know if she does anything there.
What does she even do? What does she do, period? She does the worst super kick of all time and a dive that has a 64% chance of not connecting.
It is truly impressive that they did not find a spot for her in the bloodline when she does big kick, big drop, and big splash. And she is affiliated. Like, that should tell you something, that there was probably talk of one day putting her in the... There's always that talk of putting Naomi in there. But, like...
That would be cool.
The fact that they were like, no, this is not going to extend to the women's division should tell you something.
That would be interesting. Why don't they want to do interesting things?
Not everything that's interesting should happen.
Oh.
Like, would a second Donald Trump presidency be interesting? Sure. Should it happen? No.
What if Tongaloa were there?
Well, Tongaloa can't be president. Dude's got less charisma than that couch that JD fucked.
Oh my gosh.
Well, with the WWE, it is out with the old and in with the also old, because the Motor City Machine Guns are expected to sign with WWE, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley are expected to be coming to the WWE. Nothing official yet, but they've been talking with AEW and WWE ever since their TNA contracts expired, and the indications of late were that WWE made the better offer, and they are expected to be with them.
Yeah,
I think this is a great
time
move.
to finish up that career.
I mean, they can still go, and WWE's tag division could use something like this. And it's definitely like the feather in their cap sort of thing.
Yes.
I think this is a good idea. Them going to AEW does nothing.
No.
I feel like we can say this to everybody that AEW signs because they have so many people that can already do everything. That like
plus hologram.
And they got hologram now. It's like these guys bring something to WWE that they don't currently have. They bring nothing to AEW. So I hope I hope this does come to fruition. I would love to see them work programs with Judgment Day and everybody else that's still around.
And I mean, they're great wealth.
Gargano and Ciampa.
Yes, great wealth of knowledge for the young talent as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a better fit than AEW. I agree, because at this point, I think the only things signings that AEW could make that would actually matter or would be like a needle mover like Roman Reigns or John Cena, like something.
We know that's not happening.
Right, exactly. But these journeymen, they should finally end up in WWE and put a nice little bow on their career. Give them a couple years, give them a couple title runs. I'm sure they'll have some banger matches, and then stick them in Florida and they can train the youngins.
Do you think Becky would move the needle?
No, not at all. Mercedes didn't. And Mercedes is arguably the biggest women's star of all time.
Yeah, arguably is the word I would use.
I'd be happy to have that argument.
We could save that for a later podcast.
But yeah, Motor City Machine Guns. Now, do they keep the name? Do they keep?
Yeah,
they
of
say
course.
They say Machine Guns now. Now that Vince is gone, they
we can
say
say
Kill
we can
and
say
Die and Machine Gun.
Okay.
They've been calling Carl Anderson Machine Gun ever since.
Oh, really? I haven't.
I wish they call him unemployed.
Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Motor City Machine Guns in them.
What did they? Speaking of people not knowing what they do, what did they do? They just job out to tag teams on SmackDown now?
No,
NXT.
NXT? Oh no.
Yes.
The thing is, though, they're really good at it.
At jobbing out.
They're
as long as
wrestling
they're
like
not
they want to
winning,
be there.
fine.
By the way, to be honest, I kind of feel like Motor City Machine Guns end up in NXT
I'm not mad at that either.
when they get
I don't
signed.
think so.
You think they just go right to the main roster?
They should.
I mean, yeah, they probably should, but I could definitely see them.
But
hanging
what
out in
about
NXT for a little while?
What if you had MCMG versus MSK?
For however long that might last.
I don't need
With
that.
special guest referee MGK.
Yeah. Get all the acronyms in there. Come on. WWE loves MGK.
Acronym, isn't that the guy who just debuted on Collision?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone thinks he's Ricochet.
Yeah.
Ooh, are people that stupid?
Motherfuckers,
Do people really
man.
think?
Stupid ass people, man.
I love
Wrestling
that-
fans are the worst.
I love that he took to Twitter and was like,
Yes.
look, unless I got some radical tattoo removal surgery, that ain't me, folks.
He said, and lost a couple of inches because Lord knows I need my height.
Oh my God.
Anyway, speaking of losing things, could AEW end up losing Bryan Danielson?
No.
No.
August 1 warning. August 1 warning.
Bryan Danielson has revealed that his wrestling contract, keywords wrestling contract, with AEW expires next Thursday, August 1st, 2024. Here's what he said.
Brian, I need to do a little bit of housekeeping here with you.
Okay.
Out the gates here, because a little birdie has told me that your contract is set to expire in August.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
What are we doing here?
Well, August 1st, actually, next Thursday.
Oh.
Yeah, my wrestling contract is up. Yeah, which also happens to be my son's 4th birthday.
Happy birthday to Buddy.
Yeah,
Daddy's coming home.
Yeah.
What does this mean? I mean, if your contract is up on August 1st, that's got to leave a lot of questions for you of what's happening. I mean, I know that we're winding down, but
Yeah. So I'm not saying this like Tony talked about this in an interview, so I feel comfortable talking about it.
Okay.
I'm not MJF in this and being like
Sure.
trying to use my contract being up and being like, oh, I'm gonna get all the money. Somebody give me all the money, you know? So no, it's my contract is up August 1st. When I signed this contract, me and Bree, we talked about how this would be the last wrestling contract I was gonna sign.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm part of me is like wondering what life is like after this, you know? Part of me is excited about that. And, but, right now, even though Wembley is after this, like I still have to focus on that, right? That's got to be kind of my focus. And so, but it's a wild time.
Man, I cannot wait for Daniel Bryan in the 2025 Royal Rumble.
Bryan Danielson, he loves to lie.
I love the way you lie.
Lying's his favorite. He learned it from Cody. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know that there's too much news here.
He even says there, I'm focused on Wembley, which is a show he's going to wrestle at.
Right.
Or produce
without a contract, though. Oh my God!
Whatever.
What if, guys? What if he wins the AEW World Title at Wembley and then shows up the next night on Raw with the AEW title and throws it in the trash
a
can?
garbage can.
Oh my God, no.
No, sorry, recycling bin. He's the Earth's champion after all.
Yes.
None of that's gonna happen. Maybe winning
cool
the
if it
title.
did.
Maybe winning the title, but he's not throwing anything in the trash. Yeah, this seems like partially true and partially an angle. The fun thing about contracts is when they're up, you can just sign another one,
or an
which we didn't even put in the news. But we'll talk about it later when we get to the CM Punk talk. But yeah, contracts are interesting because you can change them, or you can, sign other ones, or not sign them at all, and thus be out of the Hurt business.
But
maybe end up in the car business.
That's right. Danielson also does like a lot of stuff behind the scenes, though, right? Like, isn't he in charge of stuff?
He's like heavily involved behind the scenes.
Once named the successor of Tony Khan that ever died, or something.
Right. He seems to. Yeah. Tony Khan said if he was hit by a bus, the company would go to Bryan Danielson. So, Cody, is that you starting up a bus right now?
I was about to say that. Who's revving up the bus?
I'm gonna have to add that in post.
What? What's going on? I was on mute. What happened?
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to keep wrestling. Maybe not as long as we'd hope, but yeah, I don't care if he said it's the last contract he's signing, or maybe he'll just wrestle without a contract.
Yeah, because that works great.
Well, anybody have other thoughts on that?
Fuck him.
What? Wait, okay, hang on. How old is Bryan Danielson? Because we all know that's when
I don't know.
Get real prickly about people is when they're
He's 43 years old.
Okay.
No, he's a year older than me.
What's your cutoff, B-Rob? When does a wrestler become shit to you? What's the age?
When they're in ring performances, shit. That's the cutoff for me.
Okay, well,
that's why you're coming around on Samoa Joe.
Yeah,
we've all seen it.
Yeah, I'm coming around because the motherfucker's off TV.
No, every time he's around, you're like, yeah, he's better than he was. So
no, I said he's better than Jericho is.
That helps too. You put him in there with someone who's really bad, he looks really good.
No, fuck that dude. I'm glad he's off doing this television show and making money elsewhere. I hope he makes big enough checks to where he don't have to wrestle anymore.
But what if he wants to wrestle?
Fuck him. How about that?
When we come back, speaking of Chris Jericho, we're going to talk all about Dynamite. Did you know they have another championship and big blood and guts event on this show? If you like violence, they had it. Didn't get all of it and want more of it? Support the show and sign up for the Patreon. For only $3 a month, you'll get exclusive access to Fatal 4 Podcast's Discord, where we hang out all week, chatting all things wrestling, video games, and who knows what. Plus, ad-free episodes of Didn't Get All of It and bonus content that you can't find anywhere else, like extra podcasts from the Fatal 4 and pilot episodes of new shows coming to the Fatal 4 Podcast Network. Your $3 goes a long way in helping keep the show going, so sign up today. That's patreon.com/Fatal4Pod.
And we're back here to talk about some All Elite Wrestling, some new updates going on over there. Specifically, they kicked off Dynamite this week with a little update that MJF had for everyone. Why don't we hear what that sounded like?
This title, much like Daniel Garcia, much like Willie Boy, and much like all you white trash hicks, is nothing more than garbage.
Oh, what the hell is he doing?
So, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for your American Championship.
Is that his face in place? It is. It's his face in place of the stars on the flag. This is absurd.
And Max, I am here with the best news for you. I'm here to put a smile on your face, son, because I have had a meeting with Tony Khan and Christopher Daniels.
What the hell are you talking about?
And guess what, Max? I've got my rematch.
That's right.
I should note I cut a lot out of that. But if you've heard of Maxwell Jacob Friedman promo before, just pretend it was there. And also, Will Ospreay said he had a tiny penis. So that's anything you missed is I just covered it for you.
Yeah.
Long Island,
Tiny
New
penis
York,
chats.
all that. That's right, folks. The international AEW International Championship has now been replaced by the AEW American Championship. It's got red strap and a front that looks like the map of the United States, but it's also like, red, white, and blue flag style.
Very, very gaudy.
I've seen mixed reactions at best to the aesthetics.
One of the ugliest titles I've ever seen.
By far. This thing looks like it literally looks like something Donald Trump would make and prance around with.
Oh no.
In the worst possible way.
I think it's a bit though. I had this theory earlier because some of the worst things they do in wrestling is when a character becomes fully Americanized. Like when Kevin Owens won the US title and became Mr. America or whatever. That really sucks. And I think because of the way that AEW books their shows to the smart mark, the way to get someone over as a heel is to do the things that are genuinely terrible in wrestling, which is why MJF is like kind of a racist and, actively a piece of shit and is doing like, what if I changed my gimmick to this Americanized garbage?
I mean, honestly, like the vibes I was getting with like the music and the giant flag unfurling and everything, it felt very like 1992 Lex Luger, like in WWF. You know what I mean?
He is doing some of the things with the heat, like Paul was speaking of or whatever. But if anything that I've seen with MJF and his feuds historically within this company or whatever, and I can't speak too much to his indie stuff, he kind of pulls from the person that he's feuding with past. He did it with Jericho. He did it with, just pick who he'd been up against. He pulled something from their past, whether it be promo stuff, just skit ideas that they might have did in another company and everything. What he's doing right now is the exact same thing, amped up and tweaked MJF style, that Will Ospreay did in New Japan, to where they had the freaking United States title, and Will Ospreay won it, and he changed it to the freaking British title or whatever the fuck he called it. Yeah, the UK title. Same shit. he's pulling the Ospreay on Ospreay, So I mean, just like Paul said, this is old MJF hat or whatever. If you've seen him once, you'll see it twice. He's just doing it tailored to his opponent that he got coming up.
I mean, he got the devil gimmick from when he feuded with Punk, right? Like that's when all that stuff started. So yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from with MJF. Yeah, like taking stuff into his character from stuff that other people have done that he's feuding with. But yeah, I thought the whole like presentation of it was really fun. But yeah, the belt.
Want that damn flag.
The flag was funny. Oh yeah, with all the MJF faces on the flag, that was really funny.
Yes.
But also this resulted in Will Ospreay coming out and announcing that them facing each other for the American belt is happening at All In, which I've seen some like mixed reactions of people being like, why does he just get that shot? Like why,
because they said that.
Sorry
to break it to you guys. They don't have the fucking rankings anymore. It doesn't mean anything. They wanted this match on the show, and you're getting it.
Yeah,
and
plus,
I get that.
He just lost the title, so he could get a rematch, right? That's how it works.
He just went to the boss and asked politely.
That's what he said. And Christopher Daniels, who is also a boss, but not the same type of boss, but still a boss.
Dude, he gets his ass kicked all the time. Christopher Daniels. I feel like Christopher Daniels is constantly in mortal peril on this show.
Boss baby.
He doesn't have a William Regal around to break up the fight whenever backstage fights happen.
My biggest issue with all of this is two things. Everything in this company is a bit. So Paul's theory about it being a bit, it does track, but it's also tired. And then the other issue is this company doesn't need any more fucking belts. I realize that this is just replacing another one, but like, Jesus Christ, stop introducing new belts every quarter.
I don't even think this is replacing this one, given that at the end of the promo, Will got the international title out of the trash can and brought it back with him.
Yeah. And then like immediately after there was a backstage segment where Willow showed up with a CMLL championship. Which cool. Yeah. Cool that she's a champion there, but like if everyone backstage is carrying a title, it does make it difficult to present them as like someone on someone who's struggling.
Well, I mean, let's not get into that thing again, because it feels like every AEW major event we have, we talking about how many damn belts they got.
And it'd be cool if there was a show where like a battle of maybe belts that you could have where titles are defended and maybe even change hands. Could you imagine that?
No, let's not do that.
Like
maybe
anything
a quarterly event
or anything at all happened besides maybe having a cool match. And sometimes that doesn't even happen.
But
I'm starting to be with B-Rob on not liking the concept of Battle of the Belts.
The concept would be cool if they battled the belts.
Yeah, if they actually made good on what the thing was supposed to be.
And then I almost feel like when you have a title like Battle of the Belts or even like Clash of the Champions, I feel like it should be champion versus champion. I don't know.
Yeah,
this is a
if
nitpicky
the champions
thing for
are
me.
clashing, then yeah,
the belts are battling.
Yeah, that's a good point. It should be called Battle for the Belts.
Yes.
But every show should be a battle for belts.
All right, minutia. Let's get out of here.
The whole concept of wrestling. Yeah, it's a
hustle
tired
for titles.
It's a tired trope to complain about AEW having too many belts and having too many stables, but unfortunately, they got too many belts and they got too many stables. I don't make the fucking rules.
Well, at least they reduced one. They brought the trios down to like one set of belts.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah, because
why did they even vacate it? Because
so they can get down to one set of belts.
Yeah, they vacated it and then they let the people who got the titles taken away from them compete for them and then lose that match. Like, what's the point? Why didn't they just have that match and lose the titles?
Because they backpedaled and did something stupid. So Switchblade got hurt. He was one of the founding champions. They got in the fourth. They didn't want to do the Freebird rule, so they made them vacate the titles and recompete for them again because they couldn't switch.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
I know.
Just do a match where they lose the titles and have Jay Lethal stand on the apron.
And then
not
they
get
had
physical or something.
they had a whole bunch of yelling about that too, because not too long ago, Adam Cole was fucking hurt as champion, and MJF defended without a partner, and he also defended with Samoa Joe, who stood in for his partner.
We all know how much you love Samoa Joe. P-Rob. Never stop talking about how much you love him.
Well, if you like complaining about AEW ignoring rules, they do have a blood and guts match we'll get to.
That's true. But before that happened, there was also a women's match. I believe this was the in-ring return of Britt Baker, since she made her big return against Hikaru Shida, which is a fun tribute to their rivalry. I especially like Hikaru Shida showed up. She's been in her like Yakuza Like a Dragon era lately with like her cosplay, and then also I saw someone put up a clip that there was a sequence that she did last night that was just like one for one the animation of like a finishing move in Yakuza 3 or something, which is like an insane deep cut like reference to make. Like good attention to detail with her,
if
the
you
whole
want
thing
more,
she's got going on.
Yeah, if you want more about Yakuza, check out Joe from Glasgow. He does a lot of Twitch streams to where he goes through the entire catalog of the Yakuza games.
Hell yeah. And I don't know. I feel kind of sorry for Britt in this, because I feel like they want Britt to be over. I feel like they obviously they want her coming back to be a big deal, but I feel like the crowd was kind of behind Shida this whole match. Like the crowd was like
And
mostly chanting.
That's the problem this company has. They have so many good people. And then when you put good people against good people, it's just like, who do you choose?
Yeah. Maybe putting her up against Shida in like this first return was maybe a bad call. Because that's the thing. People also love Shida. So
yeah, and it is like this was kind of almost in a way a return of Shida, because where the fuck she been other than Rampage and Collision sometimes and ROH?
Well, she like produces Japan shows too, doesn't she? Like, doesn't she do Stardom stuff? Something over there?
Has, but I can't really speak to it. You would have to speak to my co-host on Didn't Get All of It Japan.
Yeah, I need to go talk to the other podcast. Well, after this match, Britt got the win, but then a new competitor showed up afterwards. Camille, who I don't know who this is. Can someone tell me who Camille is?
No.
Former NWA Women's World Champion for the longest of time. I think she running neck and neck with Nick Aldis' ass as for longest reigning champion or some shit.
So is she still with NWA?
For some time, she has been under AEW contract, but has been sitting at home. Not due to injury.
Oh, okay.
Not due to, any other shenanigans or obligations. It's just because they have not used her. Also, in the same situation, prior to her injury, they had her on I think dark elevation and everything like this. A lovely young lady by the name of Megan Bain. Please, I implore you, with your eyeballs, to look her up on the internet. So they had both of these women under AEW contract for the longest, and they just been sitting at home doing shit.
Dang. Well, as far as Camille goes, I don't know. She looks tall. She's got the tall.
Is.
I think. So having good variations of size on the roster is always a good thing.
Why are we giving Mercedes a heater? She doesn't.
Because she needs it.
Why would she need it?
She needs
She's
it
over.
Okay. I mean, because you like her doesn't mean she is.
I don't know. This adds nothing to what was starting to be an interesting program with Mercedes and Britt.
I mean, it's like
giving her debut is giving Nicole Bass energy.
It's the reverse now.
You're missing the opportunity that down the line, one could turn on the other.
Can they coexist?
Riveting stuff.
It's the question we're always asking ourselves.
But I mean, it wind up being the reverse now, to where like Britt Baker was the one that was over by herself, and now you add in Jamie Hayter and all these other accessories and shit that she didn't really need. You creating this clusterfuck again.
Well, speaking of
Jamie Hayter,
yeah, whatever. Well, wasn't there some articles saying like
maybe
hey,
she's also on her way back?
Yeah, I think there
Which
have been recent articles saying that she's on the way back.
Then that helps because now you can do tag team.
I don't like that. Get the fucking Hater away from all of them and make her our champion.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, just give Hayter the belt back, please. Let her have the reign that she should have.
So Camille is 5'10". She's pretty much over the average of any female woman wrestler.
Well, there you go. I guess we'll see what happens there, but let's now talk about a lot of things that happened for the main event of the show, the namesake of the episode of Dynamite, Blood and Guts. We all love war games. That's not true. We all don't love war games.
No.
Some people have very negative
people
opinions
love
about
war
the whole
games
thing. I think it's fun. I like that. I think like most people's hang up comes from that the match doesn't even start until like 30 minutes in.
Yeah. Takes too fucking long.
But like stuff's happening. There's people fighting. Developments.
Blood and guts, more like shit and piss.
Yeah, I mean, I
didn't like this.
This was pretty messy, I will say. There's some things that I liked, some spots that I liked, but this, especially the finish, and we'll get to it, but I feel like it's hard to be worse than the Jericho cardboard box spot, but this may have done it.
Can I be real with you?
Uh-huh.
That's what the B stands for, being real, Rob.
I didn't care, and I did not watch this match. I only waited until like it got to the end when everybody was in the ring, and I half-heartedly watched that too. I just didn't care because I want what's going to happen beyond this. I want to see what's going on with Swerve and freaking Hangman. I want to see what's to become of Jack Perry. I want to see what happens beyond this. And this, I didn't really need it.
That is the tricky part with these matches, is that because it doesn't start until everyone's there, anything that happens before kind of doesn't matter. Because they might beat the hell out of you and staple you to death. But if the match hasn't started, then it doesn't mean anything. Like everyone gets their life meter recharged after when someone gets in there. It'd be one thing if like it, you know, it would be cool if you could have eliminations before everybody like if you get pinned before everyone's in there, you're eliminated from the match, but your team doesn't win. So you could have a disadvantage at the end. That's a good idea.
Kind of make up for
that way. There's reason to tune in.
The other team
like,
gets.
Yeah. So like someone could get pinned immediately, and all of a sudden that team is down when the match actually starts.
So like you want them to fill up and have eliminations happen until all the competitors come out, or would you like to do it in reverse to where like everybody starts in the ring and you have eliminations from there?
No.
So that way you can
everybody comes out like it's exactly the same as it currently is. However,
just eliminations.
Someone could get eliminated before then. Everybody could, like, tons of people could get eliminated. But the idea that like there's numerous times in these matches where someone is dead, but they don't even bother to go for a pin because why
What's
would
the point, right? Yeah.
But if you could pin them and eliminate somebody, so when the match fully starts where a team can win, then that adds a whole level of intrigue that you would keep paying attention for.
And that's hard too. But that's hard too, because like once you get the advantage, like in the beginning, you start 1-on-1, then you get the advantage of freaking 2-on-1. I mean, it's a slam dunk to be like, all right, we're gonna beat this motherfucker ass and get him eliminated right out the gate, and then we're gonna have one person come in again. It's gonna be 2-on-1 again. All right, we're gonna beat his ass and get his ass eliminated again.
it's good for a babyface. Darby Allin can't get eliminated because he's so tough or something. Like there's lots
And then
of
you create the thing of where all right, I got to run around these 2 damn rings and bide time till my
but
my
it's
buddy
literally
get
a
out
Survivor
here.
Series match. Like Survivor Series, they eliminate people all the time, and
Well, yeah, but you start with
people can
everybody
be-
at the same time, though.
yeah, but people can be sole survivors. I don't know. There's ways to make this interesting, and I don't think either company is doing it with their war games.
Yeah.
To kind of go with what B-Rob was saying about not caring, I think part of the problem is like where on the calendar this falls. Like we're leading into their big stadium show, and like a few weeks out we're doing this big blood and guts match, and it just feels out of place. Like it feels like this is like a speed bump on the way to something bigger, but it's this crazy, like over the top, extremely violent match that really should be like a conclusion to a story, not the start in some instances, or you know, in the middle of. So I don't know. I didn't enjoy the match itself. I think the one thing I liked was Darby Allin did a coffin drop off the he climbed to the top of the cage.
He climbed to the top of the inside of the cage and just like let go and coffin dropped through the table.
Yeah, he did a John Morrison in an elimination chamber.
Yeah, that was cool. Very cool looking. Well done spot. Everything else
going on Swerve going on the staple spree. I like that.
Yeah, that was fun. The cases that they brought were weird. Like they brought like two, like the Young Bucks brought 2 big cases. One of them had
huge cases.
Cases on all you bitches.
One of them was full of the staplers, and then the other one had, what was it? It wasn't the tax, right? It was something else small.
Handcuffs.
Right. It was a case of handcuffs. So dumb.
There was speculation in the Discord live chat where people thought, "Oh, it's the exploding shoes."
Yeah, because the cases
like
also
had
the Young Bucks. It had the Young Bucks cross AEW like logo that they have for the sneakers, like that kind of like aesthetic. But no exploding sneaker.
Yeah, the stuff they brought to the ring you could have carried by hand.
Yeah. Also, that was the other thing that kind of bugged me. Like the thing I was most excited about going into this was seeing like finally when Hangman and Swerve clash. And I didn't love the way that they pulled that part off, because obviously the last two like the last entrance for each team, you had Swerve come out and you had Hangman come out, and Hangman and Swerve just like beat the shit out of each other outside the ring. Hangman handcuffs Swerve to the outside of the cage, and then just like wants to beat the heck out of him there and like not come in to the cage, because that's really all that he wanted to do is beat the shit out of Hangman. And then the Young Bucks would be like, no, you have to get in the cage. We have to start the match. And Hangman finally relents and they get in there. And Swerve's still outside, but
he didn't finally relent. They said they would fire him if he didn't.
That's right. And then the Young Bucks were like, ring the damn bell, we're the bosses, which felt bad and weird. It all just felt like a little too bullshitty.
Yeah, and then like if you even want to go with that, what you just said, like we're the bosses and they're making the rules and calling all the shots. Why the fuck they just didn't give them the advantage the whole fucking time?
Right. And then like the way that the match ends, where the other thing I was excited for was how are they going to pay off more fire spots between Jack Perry and Darby Allin, which they tease because they also handcuff Jack Perry to the cage, and then Darby comes out with a can of gasoline and pours gasoline all over him and is like, you guys better quit or else I'm going to light this guy on fire. And then the Young Bucks were like, okay, fine, we quit.
This is also after he's crucified to this cage and they beat him senseless with kendo
Raven
sticks
style
and unprotected chair shots, which I'm told
that
they
was wild.
Figured out. Tony Khan has insisted they have figured out the secret to unprotected chair shots, and they're actually safe now.
I don't like that.
X Cody.
I also don't believe that. I think the trick is it's called gaslighting, and if you gaslight your audience, they will believe you. I look. I don't. If they want to take unprotected chair shots to the head, that's their health, and possibly their families if they aren't checked. But then they pour the gasoline on him and threaten to light his ass on fire in exchange for a title shot. And then they give him the title shot and he's like, also you have to quit. So they lost this match via quit. which they explained earlier in the match, you could only lose via pinfall or submission, which I guess quitting is kind of submitting. But
no, they said submission or surrender.
Surrender is usually how War Games ends. Usually.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of
games in with a pinfall. My God,
there was a lot of cutesy shit here. Like there was a great spot in this match, which should have been the finish, honestly, when they all ganged up on Swerve and hit him with a bunch of staple
did a
guns.
Canadian destroyer. No,
no, he got a bunch of staples, and then he eventually overcame the odds, and then he grabbed the staple gun and stapled Hangman in the cheek and hit the drive-by, and that should have been the finish because it was so fucking cool. And it would have made sense. Like none of these matches ever seem to end in a big spot.
And when they do, it tends to be disastrous. My
biggest issue with the finish was the fact that like everyone was so scared for Jack Perry to get it set on fire. We already saw him set on fire at the last clusterfuck match. So like who cares?
Yeah, but like if we wanted to get real with it, that motherfucker was just like he wouldn't have had nowhere to put himself out.
Yeah, wouldn't have been able to roll around on the ground.
He wouldn't be able to roll around and do the little hot foot dance from Nothing to Lose.
Yeah, but also
like
it just
murder.
Yeah, also it's murder. The finish ultimately to me just felt really deflating. Just like, oh, it's over. Okay, and then I was expecting something else, that like some other shoe to drop, but then the credits came up and then the show ended. Like, okay. So
the baby faces bullied their way into the match, or into a match, and then that's it. No one got beat up enough. No one lost their jobs. So nothing is really resolved here.
There were like two cool spots, and the rest of it, just felt really messy and ultimately disappointing, which I wasn't really expecting going into this. But
I have a question for you three. Did this match do anything for the Acclaimed?
Oh yeah, they were in it.
Yeah, they were in it.
Wait.
Bowens got sandwiched between two things of barbed wire.
I think that's the other thing, is if that happened on regular TV in a regular match, or that would make him look really big and tough. But because 6,000 other violent things happened in this match, it just felt like another thing.
Yeah.
So this match did nothing for the Acclaimed?
Do you think it did?
I don't think so. That's why I'm asking you all. That's just my opinion.
Also no. So unfortunate, but hopefully, I've been liking the EVP story, but I just really felt like I didn't like it for this for whatever reason. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. Better luck next year for Blood and Guts, I will say. But I think that's it for AEW. Do you guys want to maybe take a break and then move on to some WWE talk?
Yeah. Like after this break, we can talk about all the happenings on Raw. Like CM Punk is cleared, and Ilya and Braun Breaker beat the hell out of each other. And Liv Morgan showed cheek.
Introducing the newest show from Fatal 4 Podcast, it's Didn't Get All of It Japan. Spinning off from the Didn't Get All of It podcast, we bring you a look at the most important happenings to come out of the world of Japanese pro wrestling. That's right, a podcast about a niche subject in 2024. Who would ever think of such a thing?
Make your podcast feed in Gober Nabare with wrestling talk covering all the biggest happenings on the Japanese wrestling calendar.
I'm Kaz, first-time podcast host, amateur cook. I'm both a lover and a fighter. You might say I love wrestling and romance.
I'm B-Rob, veteran podcaster, but a young lion in my fandom of Japanese professional wrestling.
I'm Will. I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Subscribe and make us part of your regular podcast listening and stay up to date with matters of the world of Japanese professional wrestling.
Available wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/fatal4pod for only $3 a month to support the show, get ad-free episodes, and join the community in our Discord channel.
Follow us on your favorite social platforms at Fatal4Pod. That's Fatal F-O-U-R Pod for updates. We'll see you on the King's Road.
And we're back. We are talking about all of the happenings in WWE this week. And wouldn't you know it, not a ton of happenings on SmackDown again. They are just beating up all of Cody Rhodes' friends, they being the Bloodline, where he'll have no one to help him at SummerSlam. What do you guys think that leads to? Think someone's going to help him?
No.
No. Anyway, that seems like a pretty obvious setup for Roman's return.
I don't like that.
So anyway, that's what's going on SmackDown. Maybe this week they'll give us something else to talk about. I don't know.
Can only hope so.
Not
a lot going on over there. Really.
LA Knight and Logan Paul signed a contract, I think, but who cares? Over on Raw, though, another impactful episode of the 3-hour show that we all watch live and love.
It's true.
And
what? They kicked it off. It is true.
It is true. I watch it live.
No one I do
on Monday.
No, did you love? But do you love it though?
It's it's one of the wrestling shows I look forward to every week now.
This confirms my theory that Paul always bullies you.
What? No, it's Raw is a good product.
If they keep doing good shows, people will like them.
Yeah,
there's a reason they're filling up arenas.
Like I look forward to watching Dynamite still somehow, but the Raw is like consistently good. Like I would there hasn't been like a bad episode of Raw in a while. I feel like there's been like middling, like okay, nothing really happened there episodes, but there hasn't really been any bad episodes of Raw lately, I would say.
Even the dull shows are like still good.
Yeah, there's still something.
It used to be
cool
the dull
happens.
shows were like painful.
Yeah.
But now if it's a dull show, you still get like a 30-minute match between like Ilya and Braun Breaker where they kill each other.
Hell yeah.
That said, I am sick of the whole like Braun Breaker's so violent he can wrestle for 30 minutes, but then we have to find a way out of this match that's not a pin.
At least he didn't do the choo-choo around the ring this week.
He didn't?
I don't think he did.
He did the spear. They finished the match with the spear out, like as Ilya's jumping off the apron. Braun spears him out of the air, and then he bangs his head on the apron, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, like Ilya sold the shit. Like his face looked like he was like not there anymore.
He might have not been. He's just that good.
Yeah, I think. Well, I said this during the show, but I thought it was interesting. The show kicked off with Gunther and Damian Priest. Basically, Gunther doing the same promo as the week before, and Damian Priest coming out and just throwing hands immediately. And this crowd is hot for Damian Priest.
Yeah.
This feud got over real quick.
Yeah. I will gladly eat crow when it comes to this. I had said on this podcast that I thought that there was no way we were going to get this program, and they wouldn't be able to sell SummerSlam with it. And this segment solidified this is like one of the best programs they've got right now. And it's only been like 2 weeks, but this is how you start a hot, fresh angle. Two dudes just want to fight each other, and it's so simple, but it works. It got very over very fast.
Yeah, it's weird that neither of them want to fight each other over who is the face of the company. It's I want to be the champion because I am the best.
Yes.
Also, Gunther thinks you're all poor.
Well, he's probably right. But I've noticed they've been doing this every few weeks, or I don't know if it's every few weeks or just for a couple of weeks, but every time there was a Gunther segment, they followed up with an Ilya segment. And I don't know if that's by design to keep them close together on screen. Because they do have that storied history. But I do think it's really difficult to like build up to that match if you were having Ilya get beat every week in various ways.
True.
Like Braun Breaker and Ilya was to decide who would face Sammy at SummerSlam, and kind of was hoping for a triple threat here, but we're just getting Braun and Sammy again.
But I mean,
But
do you think the climb would be better once, because obviously they're setting up for something else. And, unfortunately, Ilya was one of the stepping stones to get to that result. But, like, the climb can start after this because, I mean, we'll have the match. Gunther more than likely will win. And then you can have those steps leading up to what we hope is Ilya and Gunther in a program.
don't think I've forgotten Chad Gable.
Yeah, but
he's busy tooling around in Silent Hill.
We got to babyface him and get him over to Gunther as soon as that title switches hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you can't get to Ilya and Gunther quickly because you would expect the option of Ilya winning. And if he's getting beat by Breaker every week, that's not happening. Great match, though.
Oh, yeah.
As expected. I like Braun Breaker now that he's having like real matches rather than squash matches and guy who runs around doing the choo-choo.
Mm-hmm. And he's actually like embracing something that's not NXT childlike. So I like that too.
Yeah, and I think commentary is doing a really good job of selling him as well. Pat McAfee just freaking out over anything that he does, Frankensteiners and all that.
Yeah, Pat McAfee, like, I know some people hate him. I think they're very wrong. He adds so much like life and energy to the desk that it's infectious. Like, his excitement is good to have there. A lot of other people feel like they're tired of doing commentary. Which is fine. A lot of them have been doing it for decades. A couple other things they did on the show before we get to the big thing. Judgment Day stuff. They went after Jey Uso, which led to Sami Zayn coming to his save and setting up a tag match for the main event between Jey and Sami against some of the Judgment Day. This is an obvious seed, right? We all see what they're doing here?
Yes.
Tell me more.
For those that don't, why don't you go ahead and explain it?
Well, if you realign Jey and Sami, when Roman returns and needs friends, it will not be difficult for them to convince both of them to do old bloodline versus new bloodline in War Games.
Blood and Guts. War Games. I loved this segment though. I loved just the natural, like, the naturalness of it, I guess, of just Sami Zayn doing an interview and hearing some commotion and realizing his friend is getting beat up and not questioning it at all and just immediately jumping in to save him.
You would hope would happen in real life.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was a different way of doing it other than just a generic beatdown in the ring. Cue the guy's music. He comes running out. Like, I don't know. I liked the presentation of how this match was set up.
I think Judgment Day's also gotten quite funny because they're like, let's go take out Jey Uso. And then when Sami ran in, they all yelled abort, abort, and ran away. Which is really stupid. But quite funny. So that happened. And then they also did the bloodline handshake they used to have, but with the big foam hands in the concourse before the entrance. But also, it's very clear that Finn is pushing Dominik toward Rhea, or not Rhea, toward Liv. And they did a whole segment kind of leading them together, which led to Rhea pulling Dominik to the ring to call out Liv Morgan, who came out in the crowd. And this was a segment that I would call must-see TV.
The Goon Squad really came out for this one, let's say.
Yeah, definitely not for the acting. But Liv ran down Rhea and was like, Dominik likes hot girls like me, and turned around and showed some cheek for TV. And no one complained. And then Dominik started yelling and screaming, "You're on my fucking life!" And basically said, "I hate you and you ruined my life and you can't come between me and Rhea." And then Liv did like this terrible acting of crying. And I think that was on purpose too. Like, it wasn't supposed to look good. And then like walked away all sad. and Rhea licked his cheek in approval. I think it's very obvious that Dominik is turning on Rhea.
Yeah, I don't know how I felt about that.
He was also like, when she was trying to leave the ring, he was tugging on her bad arm.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's extremely obvious that we are getting a turn.
Yeah, her licking on that guy like that, I was like, what the hell's going on here? Why are my pants getting tight?
Yeah, I said it before and I'll say it again. There's definitely some some people in the audience that are having an awakening, I think.
Oh yeah. Happy for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's happening. We're getting that at SummerSlam. I think that match was already confirmed before this segment though. So we've got another week until that, but also something that's happening at SummerSlam. Great news, everybody.
Because I saw my surgeon Saturday night and he said, I'm cleared.
Oh, yeah.
And that means we're going to fight, and I'm going to get my pound of flesh. So, Drew McIntyre, come get this beating that you deserve.
I can't tell you how long I've waited for this. All these times you've screwed me over. There's nothing in the world that's going to stop me getting in that ring and tearing you apart. Except the fact that I don't want to.
Well, I do.
And Punk's gonna go after McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre is officially reinstated. CM Punk is officially medically cleared. So it is official. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam! But listen up, Punk, listen. What he's also not telling you, I'm making it clear to everybody here tonight, if either one of you so much as lay a finger on one another, the match is off, and whoever throws the first punch is suspended indefinitely. I'm serious, because the chaos has to stop. It's either these two, it's Gunther, it's Priest. I got a problem. I got a big problem. I got a big referee problem.
I got a problem. I got a big problem. A big referee problem.
The timing of that was kind of weird.
Yeah, I thought they might have hit play too quick. That said, I don't think we're getting Seth Rollins versus Joe Hendry at SummerSlam. I know I said it last week. I don't think it's happening.
No.
I like this. I like all of the steps they threw on this because they have one more week. I love a no contact clause, which they don't do enough of in wrestling. But yeah, so next week they're all stuck in the ring with Seth Rollins. I think they just take turns beating up Seth Rollins.
This is awesome. This should main event SummerSlam. Like, this should close the show. I think this is the biggest program in wrestling. I think it's the biggest attraction of the show. Beer, what would you rather close the show with? Fucking Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa?
Yes, because the Roman return is happening. You're opening the show with this, and you're closing it with Roman.
Yeah,
I think that's
I forgot about Roman.
Yeah, Priest and Gunther, maybe?
No.
There's nothing happening after that.
Well, Judgment Day beatdown, maybe. Either way,
they have a lot of angles to run on this SummerSlam. They should do SummerSlam over 2 nights.
Let's not give them any ideas.
They already got the ideas.
Yeah, they're already doing that.
Yeah. God damn it.
This is cool. I part of me does kind of feel like they added Seth Rollins as a referee, as almost like a security blanket, if you will. Just in case something goes wrong with Punk, that at least there's another body out there that they could like
gets injured in the middle of the match.
That's right. Like, I mean, Punk. God forbid. I hope not. I hope he's healthy. He's worked his ass off in rehab.
Even that you would put that out in the air shows your confidence level.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know why. Like, why add Seth Rollins just because they had nothing else for Seth to do, or like what? I don't know. But it does feel like if nothing else, they at least have kind of a exit strategy in place.
Yeah. I mean, and there's still some tie there because I mean, Punk did cost him his title opportunity.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, story wise, it makes complete logical sense too. It's not like it's not unwarranted, but
yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I don't know. I look forward to it. I hope it delivers. I hope Punk is super healthy and it's a great match, and then I'm sure it will set up something that we can eventually get Punk and Rollins.
Punk and Rollins.
Another thing we had mentioned earlier, but CM Punk is working on restructuring his contract so he can stay longer. Apparently, he had signed a deal that was for 3 years, not counting injury time. So it hasn't really started yet. But he has now expressed interest in sticking around forever. And when he's done wrestling, he wants to run NXT.
Hell yeah.
I think this is a fascinating turn of events, especially because everyone was like, he's going to come in here and burn all his bridges. I don't think that's been obvious at all. Now, granted, there's always a honeymoon period. But even he wasn't in AEW long before people were starting to get rubbed the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not happening here. And I think it's a couple of things. I think he genuinely hated being in AEW. I think the WWE that he is in now is radically different than it was 12 years ago.
And that could be a big thing about it too. I think that's more than anything or whatnot. I think he sees more opportunity here with this regime than he did prior to.
Yeah, I think there's that. I think that people in NXT do respect him, and I think he desires that. He wants to be the helpful big brother.
My ego, baby.
Yeah, it's an ego thing, but also it'd be stupid to say that he doesn't have anything to offer people, and it's a good place for him.
It's like, hey, wait a minute. I go here and I say things to them, and they actually fucking listen. Wow, what a novel concept.
And I don't know how he was in AEW. I don't know how he presented Jack Perry with advice. It could have come off very poorly. But it is silly to turn away his presence. So maybe he just needs younger minds to corrupt, which is where NXT comes in.
Yeah.
But even the main rosters, no one's he's on his best behavior, and I think it's because he genuinely enjoys being there. Which I don't think he got that vibe in AEW. And it might just be because the backstage area is different, the structure is different, the companies run differently. I think this is a good thing. If he wants to restructure his contract to be around and be a lifer, go for it.
Hell yes.
People can change. Let's CM Punk hold the baby.
So people can change. It is funny considering all the things that he said about WWE in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said,
Punk.
But like you said, people can change. WWE as an entity has changed a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
In the past 2 years. So
it is not the same company that he badmouthed.
Yeah.
And it's something that Punk has said.
Yeah, and it's more like he wasn't bad-mouthing the company. It's bad-mouthing individuals in that company.
Punk has said in several interviews since he's returned that when he re-signed, some anonymous talent had texted Punk and said that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but that they were excited that Punk got to see the culture that he helped create backstage in WWE. Basically, all the things that he was, begging and demanding and asking for before leaving, they have that now. They have time off. They have, better benefits and stuff like that. And that's stuff that Punk was asking for. And so I think that made him realize wow, yeah, this place is totally different. And it does seem like he genuinely likes being there, and he's putting on great entertainment. So please stick around forever.
I think it also helps that the class of talent that's there now versus when he was coming up in there is drastically different. His time in WWE was a lot of attitude era guys who are JBL types that are still around. And they're more of a toxic environment than say Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn supporting each other and like looking out for everybody and things like. So that's interesting news. I'm sure we will cover any contract developments if they become actual news. But yeah, we got our match for SummerSlam. Seth Rollins is there. Did they say this was no DQ or anything, or is it just a one-on-one with a ref?
No, they just said singles match with a
special referee. That's all.
All right. I was hoping it would be plunder match because it's safer.
It might turn into that, or it might be a thing where like Seth Rollins just
ignores
doesn't care. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we do have the stip on Monday, so. Also, hey, 7-match card for
SummerSlam. Pretty good so far.
I don't think we're getting any more matches added unless they do tag title match. Well, I don't think so.
They have done. I think this last show they did a pre-show match, so you might get a little shenanigans toward the end.
I bet you get like Bianca and Jade against the Irish girls or Scottish girls for the tag titles in the pre-show. But I don't think they're getting crammed onto the card. Maybe they do. Do you switch those titles back? I think you do.
Yeah.
Like, what are those? Unfortunately, they've done nothing with that tag title change.
They've done nothing with those tag titles. Like,
yeah.
Period. Do you guys want to talk about some breaking news that's coming across the wire as we speak?
Tell me more.
Sure.
WrestleMania is coming to London.
Where did they announce that?
What?
WrestleMania in London plans are officially underway. Triple H and WWE President Nick Khan flew to London today to meet with Mayor Sadiq Khan to discuss a shared ambition to bring Mania to the capital.
Oh, I'm looking at the picture they gave him. Look at that little tiny belt they get. Either this man is giant. Either this is the biggest man on the planet. Or they gave him the tiniest WWE championship.
Why did they give him such a small belt?
That's so weird.
Hold on. Where is this? I need to see this.
It's on Post Wrestling.
Why'd they give him the little Target belt?
That's so funny. Hey, those are $60 whole.
The Target replicas?
That's not a Target replica. That's a put it around your wrist replica that they sell at the merch stands. That's cool. I think London would be a great host of WrestleMania.
I agree.
Daytime shows, baby. Anyway,
daytime show.
Unless something else breaks right now. I don't think we got all of it this week, but we can certainly try again next week. Like I said at the beginning of the show, subscribe to Didn't Get All of It wherever you get your podcasts. And check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Fatal4Pod. And it's only $3 a month. You probably heard the commercial earlier, but if you didn't, $3 a month, get you access to the Discord, hang out with us all week, do the Japanese homework stuff with B-Rob and friends, watch-alongs, all the fun stuff is happening in the Discord. And for $3 a month, you get to support the show, which is great. That's the most important part, is supporting your friends, and we are your friends. So, with that all being said, thank you for joining us. I've been Paul Griffin. That's been Cody. That's been Noah. And that's been B-Rob. We will talk to you next week.